tonight's episode, Murder by the Numbers.
Starting off immediately with bad internet. Great. So we're going live here, and we're going to click this to click this. Oh, click this to click this, and now we're got a window open, and then we'll do this. And assuming my audio is working, and anybody shows up, you'll be able to talk over here and watch over here. That's how it works. So I got a couple of cartoons to make, and I'm going to start making them. And that's right. I don't know these people, and they're all anti-gunners, so I don't really care if I get them all that good. So we'll see if anybody joins in. I figured instead of just doing this sitting here, I could do this live, and if anybody joins in, talk smack. Could be people don't want to join in, and then no one will join in. But could be people do join in, and then people will be here. I guess we'll find out. I guess that's about the right size. So my thing is I take a picture and then I copy and paste it right next to each other, and I turn one of them down so you can't see through it a little bit, or so you can see through it a little bit. Then I go to this layer and I grab this thingy, paintbrushy looking thing, get rid of that, put this thing on, go down in here, go down in here, and then I just start tracing, just like if it was a piece of paper on top of another piece of paper. Let's see. Oh, I've never done eyelashes before. Let's see what happens if I get eyelashes. And then I almost never put a nose on people because it looks bad. And then I almost never put full eyebrows on people because that looks really bad. And then it's hard to mess up hair just to make it look frayed or sketchy by putting those kind of things into it. Like that. And then just random ones, I guess. And then like this. All right, so it looks broke or whatever. And then over there. No, that doesn't look like her. No, that doesn't look enough like her. Yeah, that worked. And then I almost always just figure a place near the mouth area, but you always have to guess on that. You never want to put cheekbones in because those look bad. And then what the hell just happened there? Undo is your friend. That's enough. And then give her a collar down here, and this thing that she's wearing. Close enough. Close enough. And finish that off. Close. Oops, that's wrong. And there. I almost never put nostrils on girls. And then a little more raggedy there. And let's see what happens now if we remove that. And I start everybody with this. Here. And then you just color. So you go down a layer and then, oh, you know what happened? I didn't click the color right, so it doesn't look right. So I'm going to click on that again and get rid of that. We don't want the edge, we want the fill. There we go. And now it's filled in. And then I'll just take that same tool, and hopefully it's working the way I want it. Yep. So it'll be that same color because I didn't waste time to change colors. But if I was doing something else, I might change the color to be more appropriate here so that it looks better when I'm coloring it. But since don't really care about what it looks like while I'm doing it. I think it was like this. I'll just sort of do it like this. This is not her. This is a different one. I do have Mr. and Mrs. America Turn 'Em All In. That's the thumbnail. This one is a different quote. You know her quote? She's actually got about 5 quotes from this one interview right here that this picture's from. But she's like a sheriff or something, so she doesn't really get a pass. She should know the stuff that she said wrong. So then I just do this part like that always, and then go in and do, go in with that tool again, and then I do collars. Usually if you just do a collar, a different color, that's enough. Unless you're trying to be super detailed or something. Uniforms are worse. I'll make that a little different color. She's a girl. And then like this. There. But I did that backwards. I should have put that little one last, because now I'm going to have to go in there and find that little one and cram it on top anyway. So now I have to take the shirt part and I'll put that underneath everything. Grab the shirt off of that color. That works. Grab the collar, and this is an eyedropper tool. It'll go grab a color from over there. This thing here, grab a color from over here, and then that little thingy. What happened to it? I thought I made that little thing into a piece. Not so. It's over there. So put that back. That back. Figure out why this thing isn't on top. It's on the bottom for some reason. Put it back on top. And make that thing some color, right? So red, because she hates guns. And then what happened? Now that's what happened is her clothes need to be in the back. Her hair is going to be tough, because whenever people got 2 different color hair, what do? So you put the oldest color hair on her because she hates guns. So she's going to get white hair. There. And then grab the color tool. The problem is whatever I see here, I don't even know if you're seeing the same color. And then whenever I print it, it always comes out different. But I can only do what I can do. And she hates guns, so she gets what she can get. So there you go. Boom. That's her. Oh no, I'm going to put her eyes a different color. So I'm going to go back in here. I guess I don't need this. She has black eye or brown eyes. Can't tell from the picture. And then grab both of them. With the shift key, you can grab both of them right away. And I could either click this and I get a preset, or I can go down here. I'm just going to go down here and do that. I like to make them different than the outline color. She has dark color eyes, so I didn't want to make them just black dots. That's mean. All right, so then boom, we'll give her a name, which is her name. And then what I do is export it as 2 different things. Well, no, just 1 different thing this time. So grab some other ones I did so that I grab the name from them. It already has antis who hate rights in front of it. And then I just put her name from over there. And now make sure that it goes in with transparency. And we got another one done. She has a tie. What you see in other people's things is between you and your business, man. So next is this lady. This lady. And first thing I'm going to do is crop this thing. So cropping is just reducing the image or taking away some of the image from itself, I guess. So not just making it smaller, but removing pieces of it. So I did that. Now I'll open up somebody else, like what's her face over here, to get an idea of how big my other ones were. And just so that they're kind of the same scale. And then get rid of that one. And then I always take this and copy it next to itself. Make this one less. Then take the name, make 2 more layers. here for one thing, put a layer here for the other thing. I label them just in case everything falls apart and I need to go find everything later, but I've never needed to actually do that, so I don't know why I keep doing that. And then flip this around because you don't need the insides, you need the outsides, and then you scroll in. Somewhere around here is usually good for a head. So let's see. I'm gonna go like this. We'll go like this. This. We'll go like this. Like I say, I almost never put nostrils on girls. And then that, and then this one's gonna stretch a little bit, and then like this, and then over like this. And then just got too fat, but I guess. And then this, and almost grab people to eyebrows, and then I don't know where it looks like that, I guess. And then again, and then like that, and like that, and then she's got some kind of a braidy thing going on. How to do that? I don't know if that worked. Does that look like braids? Let's call that braids and say that it's braids. And then go like that, and what she got going on here? This, and then this, and then she's got some kind of necklace going on. And then like that, and then we'll just do this. Leave it. So we're gonna do something over here. See, this ain't gonna look right. Doesn't look. It makes it look good almost. So I gotta do something to make it look better. This didn't help nothing. So oh well, can't help it. And then we'll give her a nose. I almost never draw a nose on people. Yeah, it doesn't look that bad, but what am I gonna do? Can't make everybody look bad. Then we're gonna go to this and back to this one. Now we flip to this tool, flip to this outside or the insides instead of the outsides. Anti-2A. No, this is an attempt to get some anti-2A'ers for the project, but well, unless they start paying me some super chats, we're not going anti. Bloomberg started throwing me some Bloomberg money. He's the 20th richest person on the planet. That's a whole different story. I got some bills right here. What if Bloomberg just goes around and like, what's that one show? There's some show where the rich guy goes around, he buys the bank, and then he's like, I bought the bank, and he gives the person the thing, the house or whatever. So what if Bloomberg goes around and like buys our houses, and then he's like, here, I just paid off your mortgage. Now you got to be anti-gun. I'll be like, dang it, I paid off my mortgage. I got to be anti-gun. That'll happen probably. But I appreciate the super chat. Thanks for that. Clover just throw it out here. So there's the eyeball. I always try to put these things on in the layers so I don't have to waste time later. So sort of building up so that I'm not have to flip around later. I always say that, and then I almost always do the shirt part last. And end up having to cram that underneath, but it's really not labor. It just takes a second. It looks like she's got a hat on more than hair, but what am I going to do? All right, so that one is sloppy. I'll end up putting that underneath of her skin because that'll cover the edge of the hair better. So there's a collar, and then I'll make this collar the same color, but I'll also make this part the same color. See what I did there? I'll just go underneath this other one, and then when I put this one on top of it, it'll cover that little jog in the other one, and it'll also go all the way up there and cover that one. All right, so that's that. I guess the last thing is she has to wear clothes. So let's put some clothes on her. So I just kind of point 3 times like that and punch them around. Let's see if that works. All right, and now we go over to the, what's this thing called? The eyedropper tool. And I guess I have to select something first and then we'll grab it off of this. That looks too good, so we're going to make it darker because all the antis have to wear ugly looking clothes. And then we'll drop that down to the last layer so it's underneath of everything. And then everything else should be good to go. So we're going to grab that. Grab this collar color. And then we'll take this collar and grab it from that collar. Let's see, then our earring thing. And then her. Nope. I think this eyedropper grabs like a circle and then takes some sort of like average color of the mix that it grabs from. So whenever I grab from an area that's got multiple colors, it's just making its own mind up, I guess. I'm just going to stick with that. I think I could hear all day trying to get the right one. And then I get a gray looking here. I guess that's kind of gray looking. And then some eyes. I almost never bother to try to grab the eyes because they don't look wrong. Now she looks like she has red eyes. Oh, well, she has red eyes. I've never seen her at dark. Maybe she's got red eyes. So there's her. Now we'll take this one. Who remembers what she said? She's one of my favorites of saying things because hers was so amazing. All right, so now I'm going to go back to color because I forgot to drop the hair underneath of the skin. No, underneath of the skin. There. And there, the skin is covering the hair edge. Good. All right, and it looks all sketchy and shitty, so I'll leave it. And then we'll go over here and export that one. That was her in 2019. Let's see, what do we got next? Yep. As much as 10 boxes you might move with. Well, then we got this guy. All right, I'm putting his gun in there, because why not, right? And then we'll crop it again. So we'll go right to the edge of there, right to the edge of there. He has weird hands in there, but I need the gun. So we'll stick with the gun and then apply. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Do appreciate it. Nobody else will appreciate the super chat as much as this dude because they go straight to bills. So you're helping pay bills. Appreciate it. I'm going to copy this guy's name and then add 2 more layers. So these files end up having a lot of layers if I put a lot of cartoons in one thing. So I'll put 1 in and I call this one color just so I keep on track. And then this one in lines. See, I don't never need to do anything, but if for some reason I started moving layers around, it would get confusing. So that's why I label them. Makes it a little easier when they get to be large files because I can see that guy's name 3 times, her name 3 times and whatnot. So once they get a little larger, it makes it a little easier to find them, but kind of redundant and not necessary. But that's what I'm doing, is explaining what I'm doing here. So now we're going to go over, and I use the keyboard controls a lot. So I'm not even moving my arms. I've got 1 arm on the keyboard and 1 arm on this mouse that I whip around. So if I hold down the control key with my 1 finger, I can do this. So I'm going back and forth and wiggling on the scroll mouse thingy. And if I hold down the Alt key, it scrolls in and, oh shit, it scrolls in and out. I don't know what happened to it. Okay, there it is. So that's how far out I can go. And this is not little. I mean, this is bigger than a piece of paper right there. And this is, driving out to the end of a football field or something. So go back in, grab this guy, stuff him over here. I always copy and paste on the same layer. You could probably put that in a separate layer, just a waste of time. And then drop that down to like half. Now I lock that layer. Go to this other layer and I start grabbing a tool that I can draw with. So I got to change my tool up over here. There might be a shortcut that I can do this faster, but I don't know if I ever learned that. I didn't. And like I say, somewhere around here is about where you want to draw a face, at least for me. And because of the scale of this picture or whatever, this lines are way bigger. They're way bigger. So, holy moly. So now I'm going to have to dig into all of my weird brushes. Somewhere in here, there's brushes. Come on, just give me brushes. Can you just open? Oh, open any of them already? And then, for whatever reason, there's a zillion of them. You always have to just go through and find the one that's a bunch of dots, because I can't remember what it's called. And is that the one I want? One round. Yeah, that's what I want. All right, so now we'll try doing this again, and the guy won't look like weird. Or he already looks weird. He won't look weird because of what I did. And now we'll go back to, oh, no, see, you went back to 5.8. Okay, there we go. And we'll try this again. Oh, that did not work at all. So now we'll try 3-point and see if we got some kind of happy medium here. You kidding me? I got to go all the way back to over here again. There's probably faster ways to do some of this. Maybe. All right, now I got 3-point up there. Try this again. Guess what? We're not changing anymore. Oh, look, his eye got weird, but guess what? I don't care because he's weird. And then we'll go like this. And then nostrils. Those are bad. And this guy's got a mustache looking thing going, but it's right. It's all mangy. And then I don't know what happened there. So then I don't know what I'm gonna do with this head. So that will go like this. And like that. And this. Hopefully you didn't get that cough. And then around his ear, I guess. And then like that. And then some sort of a thing like that. And then just bring this in like this. I think that'll work. And then like this. And we got to give him a chin, I suppose, because everybody's got a chin. And then a shirt, or whatever this is, collar. Right, boom, boom. And look at that action. Yeah, that looks bad. How about there? Oh, that's a microphone. And then when it comes to this, you don't want to offend him by making his fingers too thick or strong looking. You want his fingers to look long and slender like he likes. All right, that's enough. That's enough. No, come on. There. And now we flip over to this tool, which is way funner. And now I'm going to put, I'm going to go ahead and put the gun in its own layer, doing it. Just in case I want to use the gun for something else later. This, I use a different tool. This one's more fun, less fun, hard to say. It draws straighter lines for sure. And it's not like it just doesn't work for you or nothing. You still got to figure out where to draw the lines or whatever, but it's different type of drawing for sure. This whenever I do cars or guns or houses and stuff like that, I'll use this tool. You get a different result. If I wanted to, I could probably match the thickness of the two a little bit better so that this was closer to the thickness I just used for his like face and stuff. And then the fun part is with this is once you put a, what are these called? Point, whatever these points are called. Whenever you put one in, you get these physics to it or whatever it's called, so you can bend the line. And it makes it really kind of fun to draw stuff this way, but it has to be sort of stuff that's non-organic for me. I've seen people draw people with this technique, though. I just don't do it. I'm not good enough at it. And then if I was better, or if I gave more of a crap, I would go in and use brushes instead of just a straight little dink like I'm using. I'm just using a little marker tip. That's it. But I could use a paintbrush tip or like a water brush tip or some kind of other goofy tip and get just so much different effects out of this than straight old lines. But I'm okay with the straight old lines for what we're doing here. This guy hates guns, so why would we want to put any extra effort into it? But the gun is kind of cool, so I figured I'd put a little effort into the gun. People got to look at this page of the project, and they're going to be like, I gotta look at this dude, and then they can be, oh, at least I'm looking at a gun too. All right, so I'm probably putting too much stuff on here. Nobody needs forward assist, really, but this guy had one on there, and I gotta make it accurate. Should I put the zip tie in? That's the question. The zip tie sells the story for what was really going on, that's for sure. But in the future, nobody's going to want that zip tie. Goofiest looking SBR he found too. Zoom in a little bit. I guess I should have some music or something going if I'm not going to say anything, but just geeking out in this grip, I guess. And now we'll go over to this magwell. I guess we'll have to put the zip tie in there. So there's a zip tie. All right, so now we'll zoom back. And what do we got going? Should we put all the little dots on there? I guess so. So the cool thing about little dots is you can either use a tool to make a little dot, or you can just a little dot like I'm doing. That way it looks all squiggly, like, and then I can just move it and paste. So paste. Just as many as I might want. Figure out where these should be. Just like that. So I just hit paste a bunch of times right there. 1, 2, 3, 4 more times, I think. Come on. There we go. All right. Well, 2 more. So that at least it's complete to there. And then we'll go back to that line looking thing and just act like there's supposed to be something there, because I can't tell what's going on there. All right, so that looks like a gun-ish looking thing in his hands, and he looks like a doofus. So I think we've accomplished it. Now we'll go over to here and we'll go to the color layer and flip over to fill from the outlines, and I start everybody on this, and go to the same tool actually. Except that when you're filling instead of outlining, what happens is you get a shape, I guess, a solid shape instead of just an outline of the shape. So I'll go through with the skin always first, or the person's skin always first, because that's usually the first layer. And then eyeballs, because that's another layer on top of the skin layer. And then a beard. So the problem is I just covered his whole face with this layer of skin, so I have no idea where his beard is actually supposed to be. But he's anti-gun, so I don't care where his beard is supposed to be, so I'm just winging it. There we go. So there's a beard, and then some hair. Let's see. So I need that hair to come down and cover skin, so that'll work. And then over here, I'll just use that same technique to cover that whole area right there. And then when you hit the first dot with your last dot, it'll close the shape and become a weird looking shape right there. And then I'm free to move on to the next one. So I'll move on to the next one, and this time I'm going to do the dude's collars together. So I'll just come up and do that, just not touch them, and then come back, and go over here, and bend that one out. And then we'll throw in a tie. Oh, crap, should I have done this layer first? No, I should have done the next layer first. Anyhow, I'll have to come down underneath of all that, and then over here, and boom. And now, let's see, we'll just do this collar, I guess, and then that'll work. No, it won't. This will have to do it. Dang this dude's annoying. So then we'll do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Then I gotta do his shoulders. Let's have it come out like that only, and then around, and then like this. And then what I like to do is go find this tool, which allows me to grab each of the thingies and find the transform handles, and then wiggle with them. So that just got me to look a little bit, make the guy look a little bit different. And now he looks a little bit different. So now, what else do we got? Hands I gotta do. I don't want to get sued by this guy, so I made his hands nice. His fingers nice and delicate and long. And there. And then we'll do this one. I don't normally put fingers and stuff into stuff, so I might not have my finger techniques all the way down. But this guy's anti-gun, so it's okay. And that's basically a hand. All right, good. So next we can, done, right? That's everything on this dude, I think. So next we can start doing colors, I guess. Start with his face. And grab a color. That works. To go to his beard, and that'll work. Go to his hair and grab a color, that'll work. Go to his coat and grab a color. That coat underneath everything. Now it's underneath everything, and this lens next, which is the collar. So I can either go over here and try to find a color, or I just grab that, go over here, and then just match it down, make it a little bit different. And then take that piece and put it on top of the coat piece, but underneath of everything else that's happening. Then take a stupid tie, grab some red color, because red sucks, and then dark that down. Oops. And then make that collar color some other color. Oops. Click on the thing. Ugh. See, that's what happens if you just always pick colors. You have to. Come on. There. Now it's a little bit different color. And it looks stupid, so that's stuff you would wear. And then I guess that we're done with that dude. Oh, his eyes. So I'll go to his eyes here. And can't tell, so we'll just make his eyes that color. That'll work. And then we can do the gun. So now we'll go over here and probably the easiest thing to do is turn that off. And wherever that tie is, off. And we're still on this layer, so I'll probably lock that layer and add another layer so that the gun has its own color layer. Well, let's see. Have you ever slow cooked lamb? I recently figured out how to use Canva properly. Would love to get y'all's feedback since I've made these changes. What's Canva? I've heard of it. I can't think of it. Oh, is that some kind of channel looking thing? Oh, you've never cooked lamb? When we were at AOL, this one dude would buy a goat and cook it. That's the same thing as a lamb, right? So now I'm going to go over here and go to here and click over there. Maybe a little bit too light for this thing, but it's just a cartoon, so nobody's going to be able to do anything about it. So basically just a color for the frame and the, well, what currently is considered a receiver. I guess I didn't need to be that tricky about it. I could have just gone right under his hand, I suppose. So basically taking the whole gun and doing a gray outline around like the perimeter silhouette of the whole thing. And this time I will just go under his fingers, even though I'm technically over his fingers right now. We'll change that. So I have to undo, and try to hit that dot better. All right. And now we'll just switch out to same tool, just a little bit darker. Too darker. Oh no, wait a minute. So now we'll and now we'll change it to too darker. And start clicking. So now we can click some stuff just to give it a little, kind of break up the look of it. Go over here. Never even filled this in, so we'll just make that vert grip looking thing its own color. Let's see, I guess we could do this a little bit darker. Behind the catch and stuff could be a little bit darker. Leave a little rim there for the where the rail would be. Do something like that. Maybe down in here a little bit darker. No reason. And then like inside of here we'll get rid of. So we're going to get rid of all of that. And we'll make this thing darker by itself. So that's cool. Also make these things darker. That makes sense. So what we're talking here is grabbing that gray color and that color and cookie cuttering. Oh, great. So cookie cuttered them in next color. So we'll go over and drop it by 2. And that, and because I cookie cuttered them, it should be where they live in the stack. So drop it to the bottom of the stack, and then we got all our colors back. And we might as well make that zip tie color really low. Over here, but it's actually just, so now it'll actually be a color. Hopefully it'll be nice that it isn't part of the gun. And then I think I don't really need that to be super correct or nothing. So now flip that, go back to the color layer, open it, and back on all the pieces of color I turned off so I could draw the gun. It's on top of them. Problem is it's not on top of his finger. So that's a problem. So I need to go into the gun, and turns out I don't feel like moving that to its own layer. So instead, I'll make the gun go around the dude. All right, so in order to do that, I need to grab this, find this thing, and add a bunch of points. I'm going to add like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for each finger. And then I'll go here and just start grabbing these things and moving them. Just individual ones, not sets. And then that allows me to move the gray to go around his fingers. And maybe I didn't need quite as many, but I figured I needed to hit a bunch of different terrain. And now instead of being just that gray straight line, it goes around his fingers. And now I don't have to move this piece of hand over here up on top of the rifle, which would have been a real pain because it would have covered everything, see? So I can leave this down here. I can leave the rifles in the middle, and everything's happy. Nobody knows that there's a weird shuffle going on there. We'll remove this, and there's Kevin What's-His-Face. So everybody knows this guy, and now he has his own cartoon. We'll go to here and export, and click, and that was him in 2014, explaining to us what is now being attempted to be regulated by the ATF. It's an app to generate images such as thumbnails and banners. Oh, okay. I'm using that one thing that. Sorry, that hit me out of nowhere. I was using this one thing that's designed to just help you with your channel. I think it's called, it's actually right here, IQ, so vidIQ, and then it has a thumbnail thingy in it. I use it. But I don't use it for this, obviously. This, I could whale on thumbnails with this, but it would take too long. Cash says he spends hours doing thumbnails. I don't care about my thumbnails that much. Does anybody know this guy? Don't be scared. Just an image. Let's see, we'll scroll out. We'll open back up Carolyn. We'll move him over. What happened to Carolyn? Carolyn, come on. And then we'll move this guy up bigger. Maybe a little bit bigger. And maybe a little bit bigger. And then we can go like this. And then we can crop again. We can leave the hands in there and apply that crop. Go back down here, copy and paste, drop it next to it, drop the opacity down, and then add his name, add 2 layers. Go over here. No, that. Oh, dang it. So copy, paste, and lines. I'm only spending 15 minutes on a thumbnail. Yeah, that seems like a lot too, but whatever. I use this thing. Well, I'll show you in a different video, I guess, if you want. But you're not paying for that Canva. That's the main thing. The thing I'm doing, I don't pay nothing for it. Okay, I'm done. So now I can go to here, grab this. Oh, I better drink some coffee. Put you on hold. Oh, you know what I can do? I can do this now. Because we got this kind of technology. All that time I was drinking, and you didn't even know because you were watching a commercial. Suckers. All right, so now I'm going to go over here and start drawing again. So he's got to be the little eyes. Weird eyebrow. Goofy nose. Weird lip. I'm just tracing. This is just tracing. And then like this. Weird ear. Another part of a weird ear, and then a weird thing there. Another part of a weird ear. And then like this. his chin, I guess. What's happening down there? This weird thing like that. Then weird ear thing, goiter or something, some kind of thing there. Outside of his ear, maybe. And then like another thing. And then big spot, weird spot, wrinkle. And then bald area. Like that. And then frizzy hair area. Like that. Ethan, that action. It's almost to steal your face if you look at it. I'm just saying. Go back to here, and then some kind of like thing like this going on. He's evil, and then extra chins and tie. Coat on, probably bulletproof vest. Pretty sure that's how his hand looks. And then he's got fingernails. All these politicians have really skinny fingers all the time. They never work or anything. Yeah, pretty sure that's how his hands look. And he's got a thing like this. Thing like this. Big ass watch on. And close that up. Oh, looks just like him, right? All right, we'll go over here. And, oh, that's the wrong dude. Go over here. And, oh, block. No. Bring this layer back. Go to that layer. Here, and here, and here, and here, and we start with this. What happened? I'm using the wrong tool. Boom. Go to this tool. Probably should have invited somebody in here to talk while I'm just sitting here, but I figured I could chat and talk shit at the same time, but I'm not reading. I'm not going to put a large salami in his hands. This dude was telling your mom how to shoot 2 shotgun blasts out of her door. That's what it's all about. Now, he's never owned a shotgun, so I won't put a shotgun in his hands. Because I wouldn't want to do that to a shotgun. Little eyeballs. What else do we got? This jacket, I guess. See, if I do the jacket first, then I'm not an idiot, and then I don't have to flip it around later. Let's see. I wouldn't want to do this, because if I were to, let's say, you be careful when you're making these little blobs. If I were to, let's say, let this one shoot out that way, let's say, right? Like, boom, right? But then maybe bring it up here. That didn't work. Like, shoot down here, and then up here, and then down here again, would really risk it looking like he's a giant testicles. I wouldn't want to do that. Like this. This was down here, and this sort of bent around weird. Then from a distance, he might look like a ball sack or something. Right. All right, next I got to do his hands, I guess. There you go. And there you go. If I probably could have scripted some, and then I'd have stuff to say. All right, now I'll make this close some different color, some shitty color, shittier than that. That's cool. That's like almost blue. That's a good color. So let's go to red and then make it like a shitty color, like if you had blood in your boot. All right, and then we'll drop it down to underneath of everything. All right, there we go. And then I guess I should turn it off for a second while I do the rest of the colors because that's such a bad color. So there's that one. Barely see where this one is supposed to go, but then this will be the collar on top of all that. And this will be the tie on top of all of that, which is actually under all of it, but we'll see if it comes out right or not. All right, so we'll just take this and make it a little bit better. Take this, put it somewhere in between, and then drop all of that on top of the shirt, and then turn the shirt back on. Oh, that's gonna make the shirt a shittier color. Nope, that didn't work. There, that looks just like them. Oh, I guess I should do the hair a different color. Do his face a different color. His eyes aren't beady enough. So you never want to make eyes just black because then they mix in with the lines and you can't even tell any difference. Let's see. So then, boom. Yeah, it looks just like when he was threatening everybody by shooting him in the air. Oh, I forgot to do his hands the same color as his face. So let's do that. Grab his hands and make it the same color as his face. That doesn't look quite as weird. That looks much less weird. So then let's go down with this wire over here. Take that wire over there and we'll just throw it away. There he is. I guess I shouldn't block myself. I'll now go over here, pull this over, and there he is. This. I guess I shouldn't block myself. All right, so there you go. So that's your president. Looks just like export, and there we go. So is your mic work, or what's going on? You're muted over there? Came in here to say stuff.
Yeah, so what'd you think of Locked and Loaded Latinos last night?
Oh, it was all right. I mean, it was long, and it needs to be done every once in a while, and it's more interesting than the last times. But there's always going to be people that get frustrated and either for whatever reasons decide to tell everybody that they're leaving. Most people just leave,
Yep.
and that's an opportunity for everybody to reflect or whatever. So it's just like when somebody dies, or it's just like when somebody graduates or something maybe and moves on in life. So when they're making a change or something, gets married maybe, I don't know. So maybe retires. It's a lot like a retirement maybe. So it's an opportunity for everybody else to go, oh, wait a minute, this isn't a free ride. This isn't an escalator. Like, there's other people involved in my journey here, and I depend on them and they rely on me. And when one of us moves, that's an opportunity for realization that, it's a set of train cars, right? And the train isn't any of the cars, and the train isn't the engineer, and it isn't the engine, and it isn't the route, right? It's all that stuff. So, like Kingpin's saying, these weak that just cries, poor me, poor me. Oh, I see what you're saying. Cries, poor me, poor me. And that's the thing. I mean, you could say that. I'm not going to tell you you're not. But the thing is, I've seen way wimpier people get way wimpier about it when they leave. The more wimpy the people are and the least effect they have, the more like obligation they feel to make a big splash when they leave. So I don't know if Edgar's leaving or what, or if he just got to a point. So it's real, and like I say, you can either ignore it or you can acknowledge it, but it's happening all over the place, and it'll continue to happen. It's happened, and it'll continue to happen where people reach a point where they say, "I'm done," and then other people go, "Wait," or "Don't," or something else, right? And then, like I say, then that's what you have to have some sort of a discussion or not. I mean, there's definitely been more people leave without a discussion for sure. So anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is I've seen it at least 6 or 8 times before, but this is the most interesting. Like everybody involved spent more time paying attention to it than ever before. Before it's maybe been like it happened, the person left or the person is just no longer there, and then maybe 2 people in a chat go, "What happened to so and so?" I mean, you can think about it right now. Think about somebody who isn't around, who used to be around, and how many people say anything about it, right? So I don't want to bring up people's names because it's not, everybody's got their own circumstances and stuff, but some people just reach a point where they're done, and other people can go no further. And, what are you going to do? Some people will go, "Hey, I'm not able to support this very much longer. Like, hey, I can't keep doing this forever. Like, this is only going to go for so long. Like, hey, maybe super chat, it'll help me keep paying bills." People are going to say stuff like that when they're reaching an end, and other people are just going to end, and then other people are going to make a big to-do about it. So I guess that's the long ass answer to it. That I don't like it, but it was interesting, and it was a neat opportunity to be able to see one happen like the most, what's the word, like the most adult or the most like reasonable way of it ever happening before. And then I'm assuming he's actually going to leave. Like, that's the other thing, is that a lot of people get to a point, they'll talk about it, and then either they'll be talked out of it or they'll see that it was just a passing thing or something. I don't know what the situation was completely, because he kind of alluded to it. He didn't really have like, "This is what I hate," period, so everybody could say, "Oh no, dude." It was more like, I don't know how to explain. He was saying, I don't know. He did not explain it, and everybody was like, "Well, whenever you can figure out how to explain it, let us know." But I don't know. So
Interesting. Like you said, it was probably the most grown-up way that it's been done. Obviously, I haven't been around long enough to see all the people that have come and gone and how they may or may not have stormed out. But just in other life experiences where you see things like that happen, very rarely is it done in a way that it was done last night. Thought it was pretty cool that Katie jumped on there, but then again, yeah,
what?
I was just gonna say, but I was having trouble getting a read on Edgar last night with that, because with some of the things that he'd say, you'd think, oh, he's done. But then a couple other things he'd say, you're like, oh, he's just frustrated, and you know, happens to everybody, and you know, he'll be back at it. And I felt like I was getting mixed signals there.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing is if it was okay, so we had gun channels for 7 years, so I've got a different experience during gun channels as other times because at those times either people told me or I just knew because they weren't there and I happened to know. Not like I was keeping track, but I just know when I'm doing updates and I don't see somebody's name perhaps that I'm used to seeing or something. So I just was more aware when I had to constantly every single day worry about the day-to-days at gun channels and whatever. But and then there was of course the YouTube side where the YouTube community is large, but it wasn't. It had been very small for a while. So when it was much smaller, it was way different. And when people walked out in a huff, would you say, like, that's definitely the word. Like they would be like, oh, and everybody knew they left type of thing. And that got to be so old. Like, so I don't know anybody that was like, oh, like there's a couple of the drama mamas out there. And anytime something happens, let's put it all down. Like somebody's upset, let's have a talk about it. You're like, oh, that's the only thing going on. So there's the people that, that will stop everything no matter what. Like, oh, Obama's 23 actions aren't nothing. So-and-so is upset over here because so-and-so whined at him or something. It's like there's those people and the people that leave and make a big show to those types. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that clique, so I don't know whatever's going on there, but I know that was an element of it. When there's a bunch of people around, or if you're in some group of cliques that has that person, then you'll definitely see more like, I'm on my way out, and everybody, here's why, and then because they know they've got a minstrel that's going to sing their song for a couple of months. Remember when so and so left because of this? This is why so and so left, and that kind of thing. So in the olden days of the forums, it would happen like, oh, I'm leaving. And you didn't, at some point, the forum, I guess it depends on what forum you're on, but I think that went from forum to forum. So it was more of a life on the forums type of thing, is when somebody would say, I'm on my way out, like at some point in the forums, like when YouTube started to take over, people did not want to hear that anymore. Like it was pretty much universal, like, you don't need to address, you don't need to announce yourself leaving. That's like an indication that you seriously weren't paying attention. Like you really don't know what's going on if you need to tell everybody you're leaving. But because YouTube wasn't as uniform or small community as the forums were, like everybody still, didn't feel the hesitation to make a big announcement. And like I say, if you've got people that are gonna eat it up, then you're definitely gonna tell everybody you're leaving. I'm trying to think. A lot of those people end up coming back. They just come up with a different name a few months later, and then I'm trying to remember if any of them have left twice. Probably has to have happened. I just don't pay attention. This is another thing Clover's bringing up. At least they didn't quit because of I quit because of YouTube thing, and that's another one. Like, yeah, that's that excuse didn't start happening until it was like cool. That's obviously a phenomenon now.
So I've never heard that one.
That's just kind of new. Like, oh, YouTube's mean to me, so that's why I'm not going to do this anymore. A lot of people come in like, oh, look how easy it is. All you got to do is open up a thing, and that guy's got 167,000 views. I can open up a thing, and I'll have 167,000 views. Like, oh, it was more than that? Well, then, fucking YouTube's mean to me. I couldn't even post a video. I couldn't do it. I tried. I was really good. I was better than him even, but, YouTube was mean to me. I'm out of here. But I don't pay attention to all of those. Clover's in a different spot because he is paying more attention to people. He's trying to help people and stuff. So he's probably got a deal that I'm guessing that if he's helped somebody for a little while, right, put in Clover's, put time into this other person's effort, channel, project, whatever it is, and then that person gives up, they'll know that they've taken some time from Clover's life, right, to work on their project with them. So that person isn't going to be like, unless they're an asshole, they're not going to be like, see you, Clover. Like they're going to be like, oh, Clover, you know what, I'm a big deal, and this happened, this and that, and this, I'm really sorry, but this and that and the other thing. Or if they don't have the balls to do that, or they're not the kind of person to just say sorry for wasting a bunch of your time, then they're going to try to be like, YouTube was mean to me, Clover. I appreciate all your help and everything, but man, YouTube was so mean to me. I'm out of here, or something similar.
Yeah.
So he's probably dealing with a lot more of that. Like nobody comes to me and says, I'm leaving YouTube. I mean, maybe if you were leaving YouTube, you might be like, I'm leaving YouTube, but like nobody else really gives a shit to tell me nothing. So I just hear about it like everybody else, and since I don't tune into it at all, like I don't know when people are leaving. It doesn't happen very often either. That's the other thing. So we'll see if it even was a light leaving or if it was. Anybody know what color Karen McCarthy's eyes are? Or I mean, excuse me, Patricia Eddington's eyes are. Somebody know what color Patricia Eddington's eyes are?
Is this a trivia question, or are you asking like if somebody legitimately knows?
I'm assuming nobody knows. So I just made him shit brown. So,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if we're guessing, I was gonna say green.
she's a redhead.
Is she really?
I don't know. She looks kind of like she could be a fake redhead. I don't know. Oh, that's a good color. Let me go back to that one. It looked like gray. Looked like a zombie color. Good color.
So maybe this was
So let me go back and interrupt you because it's rude. I'm going to go back and talk about your original question, which you would think of the thing on Locked and Loaded. I mean, Edgar, whatever. He's a grown man. He acts like he's been around this for a long time and he's accomplished some stuff or whatever. So one way or the other, his thing is his business. And I don't know Edgar other than, it seemed interesting that he was doing a bunch of free CCW classes and he mopes in a different way than other mopey people do stuff. So I was like, interesting, and then he's in Colorado Springs, which is cool. So anyway, I've been only aware of Edgar for a while, but he was also at the 2A rally, right? I shook his hand at the 2A rally. So, he efforted to get his ass over there, which ain't easy from Colorado Springs for a rally, which, absolutely no consequence. We just did it to do it type of thing, right? So anyway, I give him credit for all of that. Dang, what was I going to say? Is that, dang, I even interrupted you for it, damn it. Sorry, it's because I'm clicking on dots here, and I tried to figure out how to cut out her hair without cutting out her face.
Well, you were saying something about Locked and Loaded Latinos, and
oh yeah, thank you. It's the fact that I don't care so much about Edgar's leaving as much as Locked and Loaded got to experience somebody leaving, but not like you left and they're like, oh, I vaguely knew G-Web's new barbecue, right? But like somebody they knew and looked up to is pulling one of the businesses on them. So that, right, not in the beginning of their whole thing, but at least like a plant. I'm all into plants now. So if you take a plant and you grow it inside and it has no, what do you call it, like wind or breeze or anything, it's going to get all flimsy and it's going to fall over. So even if it grows really nice, it's going to fall over on itself, collapse on itself. So if you put that same flower outside, it's going to get blown around and it'll hold its own tomatoes up and that kind of thing, right? That kind of thing. Like they get a little experience getting their knees out a little bit. And I hope it wasn't a one that's consequence. Like, oh shit, I don't even keep doing this if Edgar's not doing it. But you know what I'm saying? Like having somebody even falter, even if he doesn't leave, if he just then that's good for them. Because I don't think it's good for anybody or anybody, just humans, right? See everything win-win-win, because then you get unrealistic expectations that it's all just some love fest and everybody works together and loves each other and stuff. So that end of it was awesome. And I mean, I don't know, you guys tell me. I think that as far as like just regular people getting into something that who knows how that could have come out, I think it came out awesome. Like everything about it was like just well, and they, got a lot of experience out of it or whatever the words are.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was what I was cutting you off for. You were saying something.
Oh, I was just gonna ask. I ended up getting into Locked and Loaded Latinos a little late. Maybe this was discussed beforehand, but Edgar had mentioned that he was literally going to Katie's event for literally 1 hour, and knowing that he's in Colorado, I'm like, so you flew from Colorado to Missouri to be there for 1 hour to then turn around and leave and go back to Colorado? It didn't make sense.
Oh, I don't. Somebody that might have been listening might have the answer to that one. I don't didn't get that. It made no sense to me either because I couldn't tell if he intended to go there for an hour or because of something that happened, he decided to just be there for an hour. There was, I just don't know.
With how he explained it, because he was talking about that they expected him to pay for 1 hour, and he's like, I'm only going to be there for an hour because I think it was Rolando had mentioned that there was a name tag there for you, dude, and he's like, well, I had to pay for that name tag, and he's like, they made me pay for that hour that I was there, and he said, I told them, I'm only going to be there for this 1 hour, and then I got to go. So I was wondering, maybe he was already going to be in Missouri or something. I just can't imagine.
You didn't watch the show then. You didn't watch the show that he had, his show.
No, I didn't catch his show.
So he does a show, and he did a show, and that's why Locked and Loaded had him on because of what he said on his show. So on his show, he said something to the effect of, I went there, I was there for an hour, and then I left. And that's sort of how it was said. Oh, look at that. Just pop your name off for no reason. That's sort of how it was said. And then I don't want to say it changed, but it certainly was said differently. Like it was the series of sequence of events was different when he was explaining it on the show last night. So that there's some thing there. There's some discrepancy or whatever the word is there. Like on the show the night before, it looks super weird. I don't know if that's going to end up looking like. On the night before, he goes something to the effect of like, he showed up and then decided to leave. He was there for an hour, told him that his flight was leaving, left, and then stayed at the airport for 5 hours. Right? He never brought any of that stuff up last night. Last night he made it seem like, well, I told him I was only going to be there for an hour, and I showed up, and I was only there for an hour, and there was confusion, and I left. And I didn't get the idea that either one of those is what happened. I think it sounds to me like he went there, changed his mind, and then went home. And, it's his business or whatever. But instead of saying like, oh, I changed my mind, give me my money. It's like, oh, I changed my mind. But of course, keep the money because I intended, you expected me to be here, but I'm not going to be here. So I'm leaving. And that's my business, but keep the money, I'm leaving. And then, I don't know, then it turned into like some sort of, I didn't pay attention. Something like, I didn't take the money, I didn't give them the money, and we didn't accept the money, we didn't take back, I don't know, who cares? And then they ended up being friends at the end. So I don't try to get into the details because I don't really care, but that was the differentiation or whatever. Like on his own show, he talked about how he had gone to the thing and then decided to leave. But then last night he was more like, oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, like I said, it didn't make sense. And with what I had heard you explain a couple nights ago, and like you just did now, I was like, that's not adding up. And then, he said what he said in Latino's show last night, and then apparently one of Katie's guys was out in the text chat or something and called him on what he had said, and then Katie jumped in, and I felt like Katie really politicked the whole situation, trying to make everybody look as good as they can. He didn't throw Edgar into the bus or anything, which I thought was pretty solid of him. But I was just at that point, I was kind of like, if Edgar was really disingenuous about what he was saying there, man, it's just a bad look for him.
What's going on? Why is this? Oh. Yeah, like I say, I don't think it was that. I think he just didn't. Whatever, he said some stuff, people interpreted it a different way or whatever, and then there's what I'm looking for. And then he just did a poor job of like backtracking, or what's the word? Like what's the word for going backwards?
Backtracking.
Is that the word? I thought it was like something cycling. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, so like I say, as far as it being like messy and annoying, I don't like that kind of stuff. Honestly, I've always hated it. It's been a part of gun stuff, unfortunately, for quite a while. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do that. It's going to end this. Finally. I don't even need this. good. No, I got this anyway. And if I put that between, it is okay, good. And now I can just sorry, I'm talking and trying to think about what to do. It just seems like if it was something that could be annoying but dealt with for locked and loaded, then it was awesome. Like I said, no matter what the consequence, I don't want them to lose a mentor unless the mentor isn't what they expected, in which case, then good, lose the mentor, because you got to learn that the mentors aren't all what you expect. Right? But on the other hand, I don't want to see it leave if he's just wishy-washy and around, because he's doing interesting stuff. But anyway, so that aspect of it, I think, was, well, I don't want to keep saying cool because it was boring, but it, is necessary, I guess.
Oh yeah, you could call it the circle of life in a sense.
Well, I guess it's like I keep saying, it's just you have to do some uncomfortable stuff once in a while. Otherwise, you're like a YouTuber. So basically, here's one of the reasons why YouTubers suck. They can't do anything uncomfortable because they've never done anything uncomfortable. And it isn't just a money thing. They're just pussies. Like they've never done anything uncomfortable. So, they're just not, they don't know conflict. Like they won't, they're not able to do things. So, having an opportunity to have something, backpedal, thank you. That's what I was thinking. We getting an echo? I'm hearing an echo. What am I trying to say? Having an opportunity to deal with that stuff in a fairly training wheels type environment is good. I was saying something about YouTubers suck.
Yeah, you're just saying because they don't ever get into conflict and whatnot.
Oh yeah. Sorry, it's because they're unwilling to let themselves get into those situations, and whenever they do, they run away or, well, they don't get into those kind of things. They do everything they can to avoid them because it doesn't pay bills, right? It doesn't make any money.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying I don't want to see that stuff either. I mean, the reason it doesn't pay bills is boring and lame. So it's not like I want that stuff to exist just to show the dumbass YouTubers like that. It's just that, crap. It's just like having a dog or having any kind of responsibility. Like there's some times where it sucks, and then the rest of the time it doesn't. So you just deal with it. But the people that can only deal with the good stuff are people that watch TV. They're not people that own dogs, right? They're not actual participants. They just observe.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's her. Patricia Eddington.
So I've got what's that?
I like leaving gaps when I don't like people.
So I'm gonna have to pay attention to Armament and Axis. Apparently, he said KD had reached out to him Tuesday night, maybe, or no, today's Friday, so I guess it would have been Wednesday night. And KD is talking about going up where Armament and Axis is and doing something up there. So I was like, oh, sweet, that'd be awesome because that's about a 2.5 hour trip for me.
It's like computer for it. Did you say 2 hour or 6 hour trip?
2.5.
No. Okay. For me, that's like driving to Phoenix. Let's see. So now I get it. You're talking to Echo. Now I get it. And then Kingpin is saying, let's not pretend like YouTube isn't mean to channels. I hate when people pretend like YouTube is completely innocent. I don't know what you mean. Like, you mean the company YouTube? The company YouTube has never done anything wrong, right? It's there for us, and it's there to help us. If we abuse the system, then we get what's coming to us. So let's not talk bad about YouTube, because YouTube is perfect. There's like Glock perfection, and then somewhere above that is YouTube perfection. But maybe I don't understand your question. I don't know. If that's what you're talking about, then I can't agree with that, because I just know too much about stuff to know that people will always default to like, YouTube hit me, whenever they don't know what they're doing. It's sort of like if somebody were to take a racquetball Is that the right kind of ball? I don't know enough about balls. I think a racket ball, though, more than a tennis ball will bounce more than a tennis ball, or like a super ball, one of them super balls. It's a totally rubber ball, right? And if somebody took one of them and just wailed it into the ground, like right underneath of them, like boom, right between their feet, what's going to happen? It's going to wail up and kick them in the nuts, right? If somebody goes around saying, this super ball is out to get me, like, I'm not going to take their word for it. And if they say gravity's tricky or like gravity is complicated, I'm not going to take their word for it. That's all I'm getting at. Some of these people are really dumb about it, and then they look at you and go, YouTube did it. Like, no, you didn't. Like, that's a rubber ball. You just don't know how to use a rubber ball. But that being said, yeah, YouTube, the community is mean to people for sure. And that's because of everybody's fault, except for me. And barbecue's nice, and Clover's nice, and Kingpin's nice. Everybody else on YouTube is mean. But that's just having to deal with other people and us as a whatever society learning how to deal on the internet, I think. The good part is everything that happened last year fast forwarded everybody's ability to understand the internet. People didn't even know what streaming was. You remember? You people don't know it's like, because you all knew what streaming was. People didn't know what streaming was 2 years ago. Like, it was a different thing for people. They were like, oh, the internet. I get videos. What do you mean streaming? Like the Jetsons? Like, we're going to be on a phone call together? What do you mean? And now Zoom is a thing. So, am I still connected or you're not here?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. My little, here, I can show you. My little DB shows up over and says, my connection is unstable when you're on Wi-Fi. Plug in your router. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm connected or not. It looks like I'm able to look around over here.
All right. Well, it's gone silent now. I don't know if we lost G or not. Still
Well, I
shows
just
me.
quit talking.
Oh, there he is.
Because I didn't think he was hearing me.
Oh no, I was hearing you. I mean, you're a little robot-y, but it's not terrible. I can still understand you.
I guess I don't have a page for this. I'm just blabbing at this point. I think I'm finished with the cartoons that I was trying to draw. I was going to shove them somewhere so I could look at them. I guess I could just look at them in the folder they're in. That's boring, but it's a thing to do. So we got the Feinstein done. We got the Carolyn McCarthy. We got the, I guess she's a sergeant. Why did I think she was a chief? But got Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, got Sheila Jackson Lee, Kevin DeLeon, Biden, and Patricia Eddington. I think they all look pretty good. Somewhere between zombies and like a gang of thugs. I like them. So that was just an opportunity to draw those things. I needed to draw them. And I figured I probably should have drawn them as cartoons. Dang it. I didn't even do it right. But I can maybe work off of this video. They don't take that long to draw. So we'll see if I've gotten a usable video to edit from this. Otherwise, it was just really a task I was going to do here I figured it would take an hour or so. But thanks for Barbecue for jumping in. Is there anything else you guys want to chat about or whatever before we head out? Let's see, it's Friday. Is Texas doing anything? Is this dude out here got any news from Texas? Has Echo got any chats coming up? I don't hear nothing. Yeah, I don't know. We just kind of chatted about nothing today. Hopefully we'll move on. It looks like Locked and Loaded, so Joe went to Ambassador Academy, learned a bunch of stuff, got there, I think, on some sort of like deal, so she didn't have to pay the $3,000, and then went to KD's. And I don't know if they paid $600 for that or not. Did they ever talk about that? I guess that's their business.
I don't know if they did or not.
But either way, they attended. She attended both. He attended that one. So now they've had a little bit of a difference. We knew a couple of people that went to the train and learn last time around. Some of them appreciated it. Some of them did not. And some of them that went to that are still paying for everything out of their own pocket, and some of them that went to that event are making thousands of bucks a month on YouTube. So, whether or not people enjoyed it had nothing to do with whether or not they learned enough to, make decisions that turned into, good business decisions or whatever. But what I'm looking forward to is now that they've had, an opportunity to go to the thing earlier this year in Florida, that event that was held by Florida Carry. And now Ambassador Academy, not too far after that, now without too much of a rest, really, they went to this event. They're planning on doing an event in Florida. I think it's in June. There's some kind of shoot or something that they've been posting. So that's a pace. That's getting. That's unprecedented. Nobody's going to talk about it, but it's unprecedented. There's nobody else that's doing that as a couple out there. So it's cool to see that they're doing it and incorporating it. Hopefully, they don't get burnt out. I think they've got the potential to really go do something with what they're creating there. So anyway, it's super fun watching that. I'd much rather pay attention to that aspect than the part where they brought Edgar on. It is neat that they're able to take that on and be there for a friend and to have the interest in understanding what's going on with that whole thing. And then now they have the knowledge of it. Who knows? You know what it's like when you have a real conversation like this instead of a scripted business transaction. When the show ends, when the live part ends, the people are still there. And when two humans are there, they usually end up talking for a while. So, there's a lot more communication that goes on off air than what's just what's on air. In the business types of meetings, they end as soon as the show's over. Goodbye. Our business relationship is over. See ya. It's not like that with those guys. So they're going to end up learning a lot more about the ins and outs of whatever's going through Edgar's situation than the rest of us need to know. So that's going to be added to their experience or whatever right off the bat. And like I say, I don't think I'd wish that on them, but hell, if they're able to do it, take that and put it on their shoulders and keep carrying it, then we're all going to be better off for it. And they're doing that with everybody, right? To some extent, sharing that with in their channel and stuff. So I don't care what anybody says. One of the we have is most people are just follow what's already there. So if there isn't anybody cutting new ground, then what we get is many repeats of the same old trail that already existed. So they're cutting new ground, and whether or not it becomes the next trail, they're inspiration for the next. So there's never been someone like them as a team doing what they're doing, and the fact that they're doing it, period, is awesome. But the fact that they're succeeding is even better. So anyway, I'd rather focus on all of that stuff and see how far they go and what they do with it. And then I'm really looking forward to, once, I don't know, have you ever gone fishing? Maybe I'm going to try using this as a lake analogy. Like, you ever go fishing?
Oh, I love fishing.
Now, do you go fishing in a lake or a river or ocean or what?
Just a lake normally.
So in a lake, from my experience, you drive up to a lake, and if it's your lake, it's different than if it's some other lake you've never been to, right? Well, let's assume it's a lake you've at least been to before, you know where to go. So you drive into that lake, and depending on the size of the lake, if it's something you can spit across or throw a rock across, it's a little different than something that takes you 2 days to drive across or whatever, like boat across, right? So depending on the size of the lake, you're going to get out there and you're going to go to where you want to go because you've got experience on that lake or whatever. And everybody else doing the same thing they've done, right? Like, and people get their experience by fishing a lot and figuring out what works and what doesn't, and where works and where doesn't, that kind of thing. So I look at it as, when the Second Amendment stuff is happening, it's like a whole bunch of fishermen, or not Second Amendment, when just anything is happening. What am I saying? When just anything online happens. If you've ever gone out to like a fishing tournament or just been around a dock in the morning when most of the people are going out fishing, and they just have to wait in line to get their boats in the water type of thing. You can just kind of stand there, and depending on if there's a hill or something, you can just kind of watch the boats leave the dock area of that lake, and they're all going to pretty much do the same thing. They're all going to go wherever the fish are. They're going to go to where the water skiing area is. They're going to go do whatever their boat is for, right? And then there's the person that goes the other way, and that's a big enough lake. That is the person that's exploring something. They're going to find new fishing areas. They're going to discover something, and in enough time, they get successful. They tell some people. You wait 6 months, and then you sit there and watch all the boats leave, and now they're all going the other way. You know what I mean? So there's changes like that happen, and usually it's just somebody does something, and then somebody else figures it out, and a couple other people, and before you know it, the trail is going that way instead of the other way. And that part's interesting to some extent, because you may not realize it, but you're seeing the beginnings of some of those trails all the time, right? Getting used to seeing which ones get tread on more than once, takes a little bit of experience. Once you start to see that, you go, oh, okay. So now we went from 100 trails down to 20, and then those 20 go down to 5, and then hopefully those 5 stick around for 2A. But, depending on what you're talking about on YouTube, I think is what I started this thing on. Most everybody on YouTube goes in the direction of whatever came before them. So it just doesn't change very quick, but it can change quickly, and it does change. So we'll see. But anyway, I guess what I was getting at is that it's interesting to watch them do their thing and be that extra boat, that boat going out and doing their own thing instead of following everybody else. That's boring as hell. Just, find somebody new who's going to do the same thing as everybody else, and watching them do the same thing as everybody else again. It's just not the same. That's them. And what else do we got? Clover is going to tell us about Texas. He refuses to. He probably left. Echo does chats. He didn't say if he was going to do a chat today. Kingpin, has he ever done a chat? I don't think he's ever done a chat technically. He's at work, I guess. Talked about YouTube being mean to channels. And thumbnails. I guess that's it. So I made $10 today. Appreciate it. I'll use that to pay some bills. It is Free Patch Friday, so if you want to buy something from the store, we'll send it to you. If you want to grab the 2A History Project book that we're working on, 2A Resource Handbook, technically, then stay tuned each morning. There's going to be little shorts dropping, editing some other stuff, projects like this one, to fill the thing up. It's going to be an illustrated resource. Find out more about that in those other videos. And let's see, Barbecue just had his chat yesterday, so that means he'll have one about meat tomorrow.
Yep.
Right on. So thanks again, Barbecue, and we'll be back to pick you up later.